so that anybody who would like to rewatch this meeting can watch it again to pick up any information they may have missed, or for you to send it to anyone on your team if they'd like to hear what we talked about for this meeting. What this meeting is going to be for is going to be three parts. First, I'm going to go over our league management website, which is going to be the number one resource that you as a manager for our Kickball League you're going to want to use. Second, I'm going to be going through the Kickball Manager's Guide. And then third, I'll open it up for some questions and answers at the end. Since there are not many people here, I'll keep it light and casual as much as possible. If you have questions, I would prefer you to put your question in chat, just so that I can address it when it's appropriate. If I want to, I can address it immediately, or if I know it's going to come up later, I'll just wait till later in the presentation. Or feel free to just keep track of your questions and ask them at the end. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question for everybody to see, in the chat option, you'll notice you can change from talking to everybody to just talking to me. And then I can either address you personally, privately, or to the entire group if I think it's something the entire group should know about. As I said, thank you all for being here, and we're going to get started now. So for this summer session 1, Kickball 2023, the one thing that you're going to, first I'm going to share my screen really quick. Okay. And hopefully you can all see this website right here. Okay, someone give me a thumbs up or something if you can see this website, this WebEx Managers page. Nope, it looks like I'm sharing a blank screen. All right, now it looks like I'm showing a blank screen, a blank blue screen with backdrop. Yeah, I'm going to change that. Hold on one second here. Okay, hopefully I'm going to try and change. Louise, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, you put your hand up. Looks like you have a question. Okay, here we go. This time I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. So, the first thing that you're going to want to do as a manager in any one of our leagues, regardless, is you're going to want to go to this website. You're probably going to save it as a taskbar. Really simple website to get to. Go ahead, open up any web page. You're going to go to the URL, type in www.teamsideline.com/Ventura. Many of you already are familiar with this page. For those who don't, if you haven't seen this page, this is where all the information that you're going to want is. This is going to be the place where you're going to want to see information about your league, about other leagues, about other programs, stuff that we have coming up, stuff that's already ended, just as an idea to, just for you to have as much information as possible to know about all the sports that are happening in Ventura, or that we run at least. So at the top, there's always information about the summer, our leagues. This is our game scroller, which has information about all the games that are coming up in the next couple of days. Right here in the middle, we usually have information about other sports programs that might be coming up. And then the further and further you scroll down, you're going to see links to our previous managers meetings, to our other events and programs. And yes, I led all of them. That's why you can see my lovely face. So what you're going to want, though, is over here on the left, underneath the Schedules tab, you're going to click on this little arrow right here for Kickball. Bam. Right now, we only have Session 1 available, so you're going to click on Session 1. We have an odd number of teams in this Session 1, which is a little unfortunate, but just for me, it makes scheduling a little bit difficult. But it's not unfortunate for you. It's actually really convenient because every team gets to play each other team once, which isn't something that we get to do a lot. So it's a really cool opportunity. It's a really cool thing that we get to do, just so we have like a very even distribution of opponents. Some teams are just going to be better than others in terms of skill and experience, and you'll be able to see how all the other teams compete against each other. So you'll just really good opportunity to meet a lot of new people in Kickball. So at the top are the standings. You can see all the team names, their win-loss record, games played, and this will update as the season goes along. This is your game schedule right here, posted each week. So as it's mentioned before, we have a 4-week schedule. Oops, I need to change this because we don't play on July 3rd. I'm glad I looked at this. And just so you know, the schedule is live right now, but these games on July 3rd are not happening. We're taking Monday, July 3rd off because the next day is July 4th. I'll make that change later tonight. But so we have a 4-week schedule. Every game plays 2 games per night. And just so you know, you have games on what you might be playing on 2 different fields. So when you bring your money to the fields to pay for the referee or the umpire fee, don't just bring a $20 bill. Bring 2 10s preferably, just so you can split it for the umpires. Games are really quick. They are 30 minutes. Or they're 25 minutes with no new innings, and we start a new one every 30 minutes. So please be in and out of the dugouts quickly to make sure you get as much game as possible. Please be ready to move from field to field as quickly as possible. We don't want to take too long. We want these games played as much as possible. We want you to get as much playtime as possible. So just be quick. Just remind everyone on your team, hey, no diddle daddle. Let's get out there. Let's play. This is the date for your games over here, the times, the home team, the away team, and then your location. If you're interested in the location, all you need to do is click here, and it'll bring up a map of the fields. This unfortunately doesn't give you the names of the fields that you're playing on, but just for reference, there are 2 softball fields here at the Ventura Community Park, which is where all games are played. The farther field, or the smaller field, is Auto Center. The bigger one with the big outfield is Ventura Toyota. And at least for the first week of games, I will have staff on hand to help you figure out which field is which. And the umpires also know, and there are signs posted on the field as well. But you'll figure it out within the first week or 2, no problem. So every week after games are played, my staff will update the scores. It updates the website automatically, and you'll be able to see your standings, your schedule, your scores, etc. If there ever are issues with the scores, please let me know. Just send me an email, and I'm happy to fix them as soon as possible. Really quick, I do want to show you what a completed schedule looks like. So this is going to be the schedule from last season. Last season, we played on Sundays. And when a schedule's all done, you can see the win-loss record, all the way up and down, percentage, the streak, games played. This is what the scores look like. And then at the end of every season, we have the playoffs. And every season, because there's always a different number of teams, the playoff structure changes. But once we figure it out, we'll be sure to email you ahead of time to let you know what to expect. For playoffs, they're always single elimination. So if you show up, you lose your first game, sorry, you're out. You only get 1 game that night. But there are teams that have played 4 games in 1 night for playoffs. So anything is possible. And all playoff games are played on the same day. Your league page here is where there are going to be any notes or updates about the league schedule that need to be made. They're always going to be at the top. So last season we had a lot of rainouts, which was really unfortunate. Whenever there is a rainout, I always made sure to post up here and let you know when the games would be rescheduled to. So this is our team sideline webpage. Like I said, type this in. I'm going to send a link to it as well. Save it on your taskbar on your web browser, just so you have easy access to it at all times. The next thing that we're going to be looking at, you're going to come up here. You're going to find this little link called Downloads. I'm also going to send a copy of this out later as well, but this is just for your reference. If you click here on Downloads, you'll see access to all of the different sports and programs that we offer, and we're going to click on Kickball. Then we're going to look right here at the Kickball Handbook. Okay. It's going to download. We're going to bring it up. All right, and this is, we're going to go through this. I'm going to go through this quickly. I'm just going to talk on the little more confusing things that tend to come up from season to season, just so we're all on the same page. But I trust you to be adults. You're able to read this. I don't want to hold your hand through this. I just want to clear up the things that I tend to notice issues with from season to season. Please, now that you know where this is, please send it to everybody on your team. Print it out for your own records. We don't want this hidden. We want everyone to have access to this, so that if anyone has questions, they can be addressed. They can be handled. That's always our goal. Open transparency. We want you to understand what the rules are. We think that helps the leagues run more efficiently, and that's what we all want. We all want a better league. We all want games to you to go out there, have fun playing, and we think that more efficiency, more understanding of the rules and how everything works will make that easier for everybody. So this is where all of our games are. This is how our game structure works from season to season. In the summer and fall, we play on Monday nights at Community Park, and in the spring, we play on Sunday afternoons at Camino Real Park. Each game, you're going to bring a $10 umpire fee. This is not part of your registration fee. The umpire fees are separate from the registration fees. Like I said before, please bring two $10 bills to the games. Give them to the umpires in cash. The umpires always prefer cash. If the umpire is okay with a virtual or digital payment, that's fine, but we don't regulate that. If you and the umpire come to that agreement, then that's okay, whatever you decide. This is my contact info if at any point you don't have it for whatever reason and you need to get a hold of me. Your team should be 15 players or fewer. We do understand that some teams are going to be bigger just because of how they're built. We have a lot of company teams that come together. They are inconsistent with the number of players that can play week to week. So it's okay to have a bigger team size, but we do say 15 because A, people are going to complain about playing time if there are too many people, and B, at the end of the season, we only give 15 prizes to the winning team. So if you have 16 players on your team, somebody's not going to get a prize. Sorry about that. And before everybody plays, they have to sign in on the team roster. They also need to sign an additional health waiver before they can participate, and we'll provide those for you at the first day of games. If at any point you need to add a player to your roster, please just email me. Like I said before, everybody gets 8 games, 2 games per night. Seasons are really quick. The games are really quick, and then we end with a single elimination playoff. If you're going to forfeit a game, please let me know as soon as possible. You need to let me know by Monday morning, or else you're going to have to pay a forfeit fee. So if you don't show up to a game and you don't tell me, or if you know you're going to forfeit and you tell me like 2 hours before the game starts, you have to pay a forfeit fee. And a forfeit fee is $20 per game. So if you miss 2 games, so both games in one night, it's $40. If you do forfeit, you're going to have to bring all that money to your next game and give it to the umpire, and then they'll get it to the umpires from the weeks before. If you don't bring that the extra $40, then you may forfeit those games for that night and have to pay those forfeit fees as well. I'll always reach out to you to try and figure out what happened and figure out how we can get the money, to the correct umpires correctly. But please be aware that if you do forfeit, there are forfeit fees. So if you think you might forfeit on a Sunday night and you're not, or Sunday night and you think you might forfeit, it's best to try and figure everything out and email me as soon as you can Monday morning so that I can rearrange the schedule, let the other teams know, let the umpires know. If you give me that warning, then there is no forfeit fee. Hopefully it doesn't happen this summer, but it might. It happened a lot last season, but games may get canceled because of rain or other extreme situations, weather, lights going out, crazy winds. If games get canceled for weather or anything not or anything that field related, then we will reschedule those games. So we try not to cancel games. We'd prefer to reschedule games. But this is only for games that are canceled because of field, weather, conditions, anything like that. This doesn't apply to forfeited games. We do not reschedule forfeited games. Further down, these are the general rules for kickball that we use. I know a lot of teams play in other leagues up and down the coast of California. We use some of those rules. We use some of our own rules as well. So please just go through this quickly just to get an idea for it. Games are 25 minutes. They're really quick. Please be sure to collect your stuff as quickly as you can and be for sure to move around so that we can get the games going as quickly as possible. Um, when the players have kind of stopped running, the ball's kind of stopped moving, the defense can't call time. Only the umpire can call time. And time means the offense stops running and the next batter goes up to bat. This means that if an offensive player still keeps trying to run bases, doesn't matter who has the ball or where the ball is, you need to try to get them out. They're not giving up their position until the umpire calls time. So defensive players cannot call time, cannot call a stop of the action. Teams can have up to 10 players on the field at one time. They cannot have fewer than 7. And defensive lineups cannot have more than 6 of any one gender on the field, and no fewer than 2 of the other gender at any one time. This means that if you're short on players, it's going to happen. You can play with 6 men and 2 ladies, but if you cannot play with a 7th or 8th man to make up for your ladies. As well, if you have 6 ladies and only 2 men, you can't have a 7th and 8th lady to account for the missing men. The umpires will understand this rule. If you'd like some more clarification, please ask me at the end of the meeting. I'm happy to try and explain it a little bit better if I can. When you get out to the field, you'll notice that there is a solid white line about 10-15 feet in front of the kicking plate, or the kicking plate. Defensive players cannot cross this line until after the ball has been kicked. I'm sorry, I guess it's about halfway between the pitching mound and the batter's box. If a defensive player crosses the line before the ball is kicked, the kicker is automatically given first base. There's a kicking order that we use. A few different options you can use. I'll let you take a look at it. But basically, we do ask you to submit kicking lineups. We do ask that you stick to them. And the umpires will be responsible for keeping track of that as well. If your team kicks out of order, any player found to be kicking out of order will receive an automatic out. During play, there are a few different ways to get an out. Not sure. I know a lot of other leagues do the other team pitches, but in our league, you pitch to yourself, so you get 2 pitches to try to get the ball in play. If you do not get the ball fair and in play after your second kick, it's an automatic out. So you can foul once, but the second foul is an out. You can strike once, but the second strike is an out. If the ball is caught on the fly, if a base runner is forced out, and we do allow, you can throw the ball at another player to get them out. However, any shot that hits the head or neck, anything basically above the shoulders, is not considered an out. The player will advance to the next base. If we think you're headhunting, as in intentionally targeting players' heads, that's grounds for ejection from the game. Hasn't happened yet, but that is just a warning to anybody. Incidental head contact will happen, but no intentional headhunting. Pitchers, since they are since every team pitches to themselves, they will be out in the field while the defense is trying to get players out. If a pitcher interferes with a defensive player, the player that was interfered with, essentially, the next runner will be given an out no matter what. And as well, there's around the kicking box, around the kicking plate, there's a kicking box. The ball must break the plane of this box before it can be kicked. If a player makes contact with the ball outside of this box, it's going to be a strike, or it's going to be a strike no matter what. or technically, I think, foul. But then you now only have one more attempt to kick. There is a 10-run inning cap per team. This is to help with the flow of the game. And teams, regardless of how many players they have for the outfield, have to have a catcher no matter what. You can't not field a catcher. We don't do courtesy catchers in kickball. Next is the code of conduct, and I will go through it quickly once again because I trust you all to read. But this is just a good reminder that you, as captains, are responsible for your behavior, the behavior of your teammates, and the behavior of your fans as well. If anybody is causing trouble on the field, it does ultimately reflect on you, and it is your responsibility to keep them under control, or else we will start giving us assessing penalties to your team. We don't want to do this. We don't like to do it, but we have in the past, and we will continue if players do not act with a certain conduct that we expect from them in our leagues. Usually, our code of conduct is to give a player or manager a warning if their conduct is not appropriate for the setting for the sport. Please keep in mind, everybody, you are in a City of Ventura park with lots of passerbys and families. If you're doing anything that is inappropriate, then we may start with a warning, and then if you don't stop at any point, you'll be asked to leave. And then anything further than that is going to be suspension from the league or game suspension if you as a manager can't control your players or your fans. And last, these are the major infractions. If anyone commits a major infraction at any point, they're going to be gone from the game and suspended a calendar week no matter what. And this is physical contact with a player, official, staff, or fan. Hitting, kicking, biting, scratching, anything like that, you're out of there. You're gone. Verbal abuse, objectionable demonstrations. This would be causing a scene, stomping your feet, yelling and screaming, making threats, flipping the bird towards other people, anything that is going to cause a scene or draw attention away from the sport of kickball and other people having fun. Umpire is going to kick you out of the game. Unnecessary rough play. We do understand, as I said before, you're going to be throwing the ball at people, you're running bases that other people might be on. Understand that we're all out there to have fun. Everyone wants to get home safe and, wake up feeling good the next day. So if you're going to play in a way that is going to make it unsafe for other players to play, umpire is going to kick you out. And lastly, I know everyone wants to enjoy themselves. We know that alcohol, you think you enjoy yourself a lot more. But alcohol is not allowed in City of Ventura parks. If the umpire catches you drinking, they'll kick you out of the game. As well, when you are under the influence, you don't make good decisions. You aren't in control of yourself. And this is more likely to lead to either verbal or physical altercations with other people. So please save it till the end of the game. As I've said before, games are quick. You don't need to be drinking. And we're very quick. Umpires are told, be very strict with this. If they see it, they can kick you out and forfeit your game immediately. It's not worth it. Okay. And last, this is something new that we added this previous season. As I said before, at the end of every season, we do playoffs. For the playoffs, we do need to make sure that the players who you've submitted on your roster are the ones who are actually going to be playing on your team. And this is why every day when you show up to play, the umpire is going to hand you a blue card. You'll fill out your team roster, or your kicking order. You'll fill out your kicking order each day, and we will track this. And then at the end of the season, we will use this to determine who gets to play in playoffs and who doesn't. We request that players play in at least 4 games to be eligible for the playoffs. It may sound like a lot, but it's actually only 2 days that they need to be in attendance for out of 4, which we don't think is too much to ask for to say that they're a valuable contributor to your team. If you think that may interfere with your team's ability to even field a team for playoffs, please let me know. We'll see if we can work something out for you. But please just remind that to your players so that they are more reliable to show up during the regular season. So that's all available from, like I said, Team Sideline, and I'll be sending a link to this out later, either this evening or tomorrow. At this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm just going to open this up to Q&A. There aren't many people, so feel free to just ask your questions. You don't need to type it in. If you have no questions, if you feel good, feel free to log out, and we'll see you out there next Monday. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, thank you all for being here. I'm going to end the meeting. Best of luck to you, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you out there again.